So, AI is not like it's literally coming for our jobs. It's not just sci-fi anymore. It's knocking at our front door wearing a snazzy bow tie and a winning smile.
Absolutely, right? And it's wild to think that this isn't limited to, say, routine jobs like truck driving or fast food cashiers, but it's infiltrating white collar work too, including legal, creative, even tech roles.
Exactly. And remember when, in the 2020 debates, there was that one guy, Andrew Yang, who totally laid out his warning about automation and job loss, while everyone else was busy with, like, promises about health care and handshakes. He was calling out the silent, unstoppable march of technology.
Yep, I recall that vividly. It's like his message was so simple and yet so bone chilling. AI isn't just changing the game, it's like replacing entire teams.
Yeah, it's like, imagine, a buffet. One moment you're savoring your job, and the next, AI is going full Golden Corral buffet mode, taking over every profession you can think of.
Right, it's a buffet without leftovers. And get this, Yang actually relied on research, citing studies that showed nearly 47% of US jobs were at risk of automation. Not eventually, like in a few millennia, but within decades.
Yep, that number really had me reeling. It's like, you try to plug in your coffee machine and it just glitches on you, and suddenly you're without your morning brew. Except this glitch means your entire career might be tumbled by ones and
Exactly.
zeros.
And then there's the bigger scale numbers. We're talking about estimates from Goldman Sachs suggesting up to 300 million full time jobs worldwide could be affected by AI. That's not just a ripple, it's a tidal wave.
Right. And even McKinsey projected millions of people globally displaced, somewhere between 400 to 800 million by 2030. And that's not some far off nightmare. It's almost like,
Absolutely
staring down
terrifying.
an asteroid if you're a dinosaur.
And what's amazing is that, like, it's already underway. I mean, AI replacing restaurant cashiers with robotic kiosks, self driving rigs out there replacing truck drivers, and even in legal fields, AI is scanning through contracts and drafting briefs faster than a seasoned lawyer.
Right. And let's not even start on the creative fields. Artists, designers, musicians, they're all now having to compete with an AI that could potentially headline a festival while churning out, like, award-winning
Yeah,
content.
it's almost like the art scene just got a digital makeover, whether we like it or not. But here's something that always struck me. If the machine is like taking over these roles, then who's, reaping the benefits? Because it's clear that tech companies and shareholders are laughing all the way to the bank.
Exactly. And here's where Yang's proposal, the freedom dividend, comes into play: a universal basic income of around $1,000 a month for every adult. Now, that to me is like an emergency life vest in a sea of economic
Very much
uncertainty.
so. But, person one, while I get the idea of a UBI as a stabilizer, don't you think there's a risk that it might disincentivize work or hinder innovation? I mean, critics have said things like, it's just a handout.
I see where you're coming from, and that's a fair critique. But I'd say it's not about discouraging work. It's about, providing a buffer as society transitions. Think about it. There's no denying the efficiency of AI. But if we leave our workers, especially those in the gig economy, without support, we're setting up an
Yeah, it's a
unstable
tough balance.
base.
Right. Like comparing a well oiled machine to a clunky old system. And speaking of, companies already seem all too ready to invest in automation and tax cuts for themselves, while offering half hearted retraining programs for displaced workers.
Totally. It's like they have a corporate safety net for themselves, but not for the folks whose jobs their AI systems replace. It's almost laughable, if it weren't so dire.
Exactly. It's also interesting how Yang's stance wasn't just about the threat. There was this underlying call to fundamentally rework our societal structures. Like compare income stability to infrastructure, such as roads and schools.
Exactly. And think about the gig economy. Uber drivers, Door Dashers, Task Rabbits, they're just one software update away from being obsolete. It's like we're selling freedom. But it turns out it's a prequel to algorithmic enslavement.
Right, a real modern paradox. So, to me, this whole narrative isn't anti-AI per se. It's pro-human in the sense of ensuring that progress doesn't leave the workforce out in the cold.
Absolutely. I mean, AI is incredible. It can diagnose diseases, write code, even compose music. But the real question is, who actually wins? And if we, continuously reinvest all the benefits upward, then we're left with a society where the majority, the working class, gets sidelined.
True, that's the crux of it. And then there's that bit about the corporate ladder. Money is stuck at the top, literally headed for cloud servers in Silicon Valley, while the workers at the bottom are left to fend for themselves.
Yeah, it really is a dystopian scenario waiting to happen. And the irony in saying retraining programs are the solution, like hoping someone can learn advanced skills faster than an AI can frankly write a grant proposal in Latin.
Exactly right. Let's also not forget the weird response from the political establishment. While companies got these massive bailouts and tax breaks, proposals like the Freedom Dividend were dismissed as, what? Communism with Wi-Fi? That's just so, underwhelming in the face of such a massive shift.
Right, and this dismissal, it's almost comical if it weren't so serious. I mean, if every CEO had to, donate a kidney whenever they touted disruption, maybe then we'd see some real changes in priorities.
Haha, that's a sharp, albeit exaggerated analogy. Yeah. And it really brings out how inconsistent the system is. On one hand, they're embracing automation to cut costs. And on the other, they scoff at any measure that might actually help the displaced workers.
Absolutely, and it's like our current systems are designed to benefit a select few rather than, uplifting the collective. And while the gig economy is sold as freedom, it's more a Trojan horse that leads to a future of precarious work.
That's a pretty spot-on observation. And what about the tech side? I mean, even coders, who we thought were somewhat invincible, are facing competition from tools like GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT. It's like the very ones who taught the machines are now watching them edge out their own roles.
Yeah, it's startling. It's like you build the car and then the car becomes the driver. And honestly, that signals a complete role reversal in how we view expertise.
Right, that's the ultimate irony. So, with all this coming at us, what do you think are realistic next steps? I mean, how do we, as a society, prepare for this upheaval?
Well, first off, we've got to truly acknowledge that change is coming. Ignoring it only cements that dystopian future we just talked about. We need to build infrastructure around income stability, treating it as essential as roads and schools.
Absolutely. And then maybe start taxing companies based on how many jobs their AI systems replace? At least then, the profits could go back into, say, training programs or some sort of social support system.
Yeah, exactly. For example, if a tech giant's algorithm displaces 500 truckers, they could contribute to funding education, housing, or even a public service improvement in affected communities.
That would be a fairer model. Of course, there's the challenge of implementation. Critics, like you mentioned earlier, might argue that such measures would stifle innovation or hurt profits. But, if we let profits skyrocket while workers sink, is that really progress?
That's a valid challenge. But I'd argue that innovation shouldn't come at the expense of human well-being. It's like just because you have the technology to, say, automate a job doesn't mean you should if there isn't a solid safety net for the displaced workforce.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it's not about being anti-AI. It's about ensuring that as AI evolves, the benefits aren't confined only to tech companies and shareholders, but are distributed fairly across society.
Right. And that's the lesson I keep circling back to. Dialogue, policy shifts, and a commitment to rethinking our economic foundations are crucial. Without that, we're just, signing our own obsolescence notice.
Absolutely, we have to adapt or get left behind. So, in a way, acknowledging that Andrew Yang was right isn't about giving in to doom and gloom, it's about being realistic and proactive.
Exactly. It's like accepting a challenge. We have this enormous potential for progress, but only if we, um, create systems that ensure everyone benefits, not just a corporate elite or an army of patient robots.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And as our realities continue shifting, maybe the conversation we have today will be the groundwork for innovations that really support the human spirit, bridging the gap between our creativity and the capabilities of AI.